I mean, I think that was probably the hardest thing I ever have done in my life. So it's kind of nice even now, like if something's hard coming up in my mind, I'm like, you did that, you can get through this. I think I was sick to my stomach, honestly, the whole time.
Welcome to Voices on the Wind. I am Toby Lyles and my esteemed son,
Maverick Lyles.
And we have a really fun episode for you today. We have somebody who we didn't expect would even have a real solid business model. Not that we expected, just as we were talking, that wasn't a part of the conversation. And at the end, she revealed that she's actually been building something really cool. So worth a listen to hear the process that she went through. So that is Kelsey Giroux, for those who don't know. But now you will know.
We have our newsletter, which is our Substack, votw.substack.com is where you can find it, and it's just we share our thoughts on our guests and podcasts and a lot of fun stories. So if you haven't checked it out, that's where it is. And we also have a lot of pretty exciting entrepreneur kind of groups or programs in the works. So if you are interested in that or have any thoughts on that, just reach out to us on our socials. So that's Instagram, Facebook, and we'd be glad to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Or also at the website.
Yes, or at our website. Yes, that also works too.
24sound.com, all one word, all spelled out. As I understand that the podcast is called Voices on the Wind. Yet the website is our
24sound.
Just to confuse y'all. Hey, and we're really excited about this interview with Kelsey. So here we go. Kelsey Giroux. By popular demand. So what are you trying to accomplish?
My most recent kind of project ambition was starting to kind of try and branch off to kind of start my own nonprofit / maybe business. I'm really passionate about trying to bring the arts more to rural, underserved areas. I grew up doing a lot of art with my mom, and so it's kind of always been a part of my life, and went to school for art. And kind of being here, I've tried to still volunteer and run some art workshops with some organizations. Okay. And then I kind of realized I wanted to incorporate a little more of what I do for a career in the kind of public health sector. And so this project is looking to combine some of that social development kind of evidence-based work, where I'm looking to use the arts to kind of what we call build protective factors. So in the world of kind of risk factors and protective factors. And so I'm really interested in how the arts can develop and help negate those risk factors.
You're talking about childhood trauma, right?
Yes.
And how art can reverse or help heal or help people move past, something like that?
Correct.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it, those pro-social skills even are things like communication skills, like regulation on emotions. And so I'm really interested in how the arts can kind of easily move into that realm. So not exactly art therapy, because that's its own whole ball game there, but it's kind of like almost a sneaky way, I guess you could say, just because the arts allow you to express emotions easily. You don't have to use verbal or words. So kind of, I guess that in a nutshell is bringing those arts to this community, but looking at some of the art mediums that aren't readily easy available. So like, for example, one is photography. I really like darkroom work, developing film.
You were saying you were just about to go do some of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm working on some, over at the university today, some 8x10 Polaroid film. Okay. I don't know if you've seen the resurgence of Polaroid bringing back their film. And
not an 8x10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that's a fun process.
That's fun.
So some of those printmaking, some of those things that require a bit more equipment than you can have it like readily, easily accessed at your house.
Interesting. So part of the art project is for you that photography.
Yes.
Okay. So you're trying to help heal youth. By youth, we're talking like What ages are you thinking?
So some of the processes are a little more advanced. A dark room kind of chemical exposure. You should be a little older. So there is a
Not put
mix.
3-year-olds in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a mix of some of the, not, and making sure there is some of the more mediums for younger age, but primarily it would be kind of ages 5 to 18 for youth. Okay. And then hopefully the trickle down factor is it reaches families or the community through that, if that makes sense. So looking at, working directly with youth, but then also incorporating families in that work and hopefully kind of all around involvement with everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you start, as soon as you, what did somebody say to me once? Essentially, if you want to get the family, you start with the youth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the mother, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
You're thinking about incorporating as a nonprofit. You're working on that? You done with that?
I'm
Where
done.
You at? Okay.
Yep, filed and received the IRS exemption status back in May.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
What's it called?
Artful Impact Collective.
What about your growing up made you interested in this?
Yeah, I grew up, I'm from Rollins originally. Okay. My parents moved out from Massachusetts in the 80s, which is kind of interesting. The joke of them moving out to a random town in Wyoming is because my family's Italian, is they were running from the mafia, witness protection. Not too many Italian families in Rollins, Wyoming growing up. But so kind of the oil boom and the refineries, my dad ended up moving out there. So me and my siblings.
For the oil?
Yes. Refinery gas.
Because he was not running from the mafia.
No.
Okay.
But there is some family lore that we might have been in the Sicilian mafia back home. So who knows, So grew up, born and raised in Rollins. Pretty small town, about 8,000, I think, total population. So some of the things we found to do for fun was a lot of art. My mom had a very artsy, very talented background in the arts. So we do a lot at home. And just kind of was something I clicked with and kind of had a talent for. And then when I was in high school, I had a really great art teacher, Mr. Davidson, who was super supportive, let me kind of be creative in my own way without a lot of restrictions. So my senior year, I did really great for state art and won a few scholarships. So I thought that was the direction I wanted to go.
What do you think about why? I mean, your mother did art, right? Mm-hmm. But was there anything else about art that was? Why do you think you connected with it?
I think for me, I guess I'll kind of throw in a bit. I had a bit unconventional, I'd say, upbringing. My mom, when she did move to Wyoming, converted to kind of a stricter religion, I'd say. Okay. And so it was very limited in that this religion doesn't want a lot of maybe outside interaction outside of the congregation or church. So art was probably one of the limited activities where I was able to kind of have a little more freedom.
Okay.
And then maybe to expound a little bit. So I guess kind of going back to state art, part of the religion is they don't really, not that you can't, but it's not really encouraged to go on to secondary education. And for me, so I actually had to turn down those scholarships I won at state art.
Really?
And then very last minute, my senior year, I think I took the ECTs, secretly decided I was going off to college and went for art and left. So that was kind of, but a big part of that I think was just my art teacher. And, it wasn't like trying to put a bug in my ear, just kind of checking in and being like, are you okay? Is this the direction you want to go? What do you want to do with your life? But I think the other thing with the art was, being kind of in that religion and not really fitting in. You're kind of on the outside, I'd say. Mm-hmm. It was nice to have that one person that I think saw me and would take the time to be like, how are you? And so I think that stuck out to me, that now knowing a lot of what I know about having a an adult in your life there, that's part of those protective factors. Research is, I think he was one of those people for me that kind of helped negate some things. So I think now knowing what I know and seeing that with the arts and how that was able to kind of work together has really piqued my interest.
Was there anything specific that you remember I don't know, any specific things about that childhood moment?
Yeah.
Do I need to clear it up? Is that?
I think like the biggest thing is I'd been out of school a couple days, and when I came back, I kind of internally was just like really struggling with all these things going on and like just feeling really down and not sure kind of where to go with everything and upset, and kind of had been out sick and some various family kind of issues had happened. And when I got to art class, my art teacher, Mr. Davidson, came and sat down, and that's when he said, are you okay? And I felt like that was the one time anyone even had really checked in and, even asked that of
Really?
everything. Yeah. So I just, in that moment, really felt like someone cared and kind of noticed what was going on.
So you got a scholarship, but I'm assuming that was outside the religious confines or whatever.
Yes.
And so like no go.
No go.
And what was the path that had you not changed anything? What path do you think you were headed down?
I think I felt stuck and almost kind of like and I think there's a lot of maybe criticism on that teenage angst of acting out and rebelling, and I don't think it was even that. It was just realizing that wasn't the path for me, and almost felt in like a situation of you're drowning and yelling for help and no one's listening, and I needed out of that.
So you feel like you were asking for help as a
Yes.
teenager. It's a huge choice to make.
And that was another thing of grappling with leaving. It meant leaving your entire community of everything you'd ever known, and then that meant family. Because if you leave in that religion, it's like the ultimate sin. So you're shunned for leaving. So that
That's
even
right.
means if you run into someone they can't talk to you. You can't even say hello. Or I think that was probably the hardest thing I ever have done in my life. So it's kind of nice even now, like if something's hard coming up in my mind, I'm like, you did that. You can get through this. It's just, I think I was sick to my stomach, honestly, the whole time, and nerve wracking. Yeah. And it's not easy. You don't just say I'm leaving. It's not an easy process. There's a group of elders and everyone's trying to meet with you to convince you not to leave. I received like letters. People would just stop by and show up to kind of, I'd say ambush me. Meaning well, because it was the right choice to me, wrong choice on their end of what they thought. So yeah, to them for them it's life or death. I think there's and I don't know, in the sense of being taught to live a certain way your entire life, 18 years. And then there's that other party that's like, I do know I need to leave. So definitely a struggle, an internal struggle on that.
Yeah, like an internal, this is definitely the right choice to make.
Yeah. And guilt. I'll say a lot of guilt, because you're making your friends and people you love, upset. And like you said, it is treating it like a death, like I guess almost. And knowing that that's cut and you're gone. So
yeah, that's so hard. Where from the art in college to you starting a nonprofit, what are the connecting steps there?
Yeah, it wasn't even so. I did art. I graduated. I didn't even really know what to do with it. I bartended for a while and then ended up working in education and special education. And I think that kind of started maybe the beginning of the thirst of knowledge and learning kind of more. And, and working, sometimes you're I was just thrown into some situations with youth on behavior plans and IEPs and in special education that, being young, I didn't really understand some of the cause of their behaviors, just not having that knowledge or that background. And then kind of started to learn more about, those risk and protective factors that affect you and how childhood trauma, and home life can affect those behaviors. And so I started learning more about that and kind of saw a job posted that looked interesting. It was on working with youth and kind of healthy relationship skills. And so I applied and ended up getting that job. And that's where I really started to learn a whole lot more about how all those factors can affect you. And that really piqued my interest because then I was really able to look back on like childhood and understand like how your parents are affected by their trauma and why they are the way they are. So that really gave me an understanding. And so it definitely has put me on that road of, I guess, wanting to bring that to others. And, the art for me was that kind of safe haven and way to help myself. And so that's just really sparked that interest in wanting to provide that outlet for families and youth as well. And so hopefully can bring in kind of a mixture of the two of the arts and various ways to help kind of guide and inform. So
this may not be true, but where I have found, I've told you, I want to do an entrepreneurial podcast because that's been instrumental in freeing me from some of my childhood stuff. We grew up really poor. That was our thing. And then all of the subsequent change that brought.
Yeah.
And choices that were made because of that I made, that my parents made, that I don't want my kids to make. And, but it's brought me freedom, like, being on my own, having choice and free will. And so that's why I care, obviously, because of my own story.
Yeah.
Because I care what entrepreneurship can do for someone. People who haven't had my story, many of them don't care because they haven't lived through that. But I care because it's brought me freedom and I want to offer that to people. Is there a piece of that that's similar for you? Did you find freedom or something like that in that moment of learning that you're understanding why your parents did what they did?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think love that for you to begin with, because not everyone, I think, is able to even reflect. And I think that's a lot of the process, is being able to reflect on where you've been and the changes you can make even for your children. I think that's a big thing. And like I said, it's really hard for everyone to like have that bird's eye view, even on making those changes in your life. So even in that, in working on your business and the podcast, I understand that also that background of coming from a poor family, similar kind of situation. Like similar you were bringing up for your youth and the community is just making it better. Because as I was talking about it, it's kind of that effect where when you can make something better for someone, then they can so forth. And as I said, it's like that expanding trickle-down effect. And I think that kind of stems too is, you're out on your own, you're isolated when you leave, and you don't really know any better, and you're just still struggling to keep your head above the water, And so I felt like all my 20s was
that's right,
staying out, just surviving.
You're just surviving.
And now in my 30s, you're, like you said, deconstructing, processing, and then you're like, okay, finally trying to like live and make it.
So here we are in your story. You are, you're in college, you left college and you did a job or two.
Yes.
One was in special ed. Yes. And then.
So that's when I moved more into the federal grant world. So I started working in a program that delivered programming to youth. We did community-based and then high school settings. And primarily it's what is called healthy relationship skills. So it's those character building, pro-social skills that you need, not just romantic kind of relationships, but in everyday, like family, peers, work settings. So like communication, conflict resolution.
Wow.
Right now I'm currently doing a master's in public health. I had a friend that went to a conference and said UC Berkeley has this like special new like cohort they're developing, and it's for people based in rural communities already working in public health. That's been fabulous. Just kind of having a community of individuals I've met through that program, and definitely some lifelong friends. We
Really?
fly to see each other,
Aw.
and even this week I have a couple friends flying out. So super
is so
excited.
cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that working with that group of peers had an impact on you in what you're trying to accomplish, your nonprofit that you started today, as opposed to, I mean, it's one thing to get educated, and it's another thing to hang out with folks that are on the same path.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think because I've been in this, at my position for around 8 years, and I've always toyed with wanting to branch out and do my own, like I said, LLC or nonprofit. It felt scary, Oh,
yeah.
and, trying to put your own money into it. And so that really was, I think the final push is for school. For a capstone, you had to do something in your community. And I kind of floated the idea after kind of talking with everyone, brainstorming. I was like, I think this is what I want to do for my project. And they were like, do it. So it was awesome having them like constantly helping out and being like, do you need someone on your board? I could be on your board. Or
Wow.
But so yeah, very supportive. And then I was like, it's now or never, gonna do it. So
I really enjoyed that interview. She had just lots of good thoughts on. I mean, for one, her story was crazy. And her and recovering from pretty much losing your like family. That's not easy. And especially if you have family, doing what she did is still hard. So her resilience and her story was just, I really respected and thought that was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I resonated with that a lot. We've had some major losses in our life, and so it's hard to bounce back. And she is not only doing that, but she's helping people who are. She's learned how to help people who might be in a somewhat similar position, or just. Yeah, I know. Super cool. Turning our attacks, our weaknesses. Weaknesses? I don't think so. Just what's come against us is our strength. So, and for those who haven't noticed, we are on a couch today.
Yes.
If you're watching on video, it's really uncomfortable. So let us know how the couch works. We're thinking about including it, but as we sit on it, it looks great, I hear, but it feels weird.
Uncomfortable. It
feels weird.
I'm sure I'll wear into it, but it's a little weird.
Yeah. We're trying to catch an idea. We'll see how this one plays out. But for all you out there, I hope you are catching your ideas and turning them into something real. Till then, my friends, happy sailing.